truly feel it's important for people to understand about finding balance within themselves, because it really make a world of difference of how we live in our life and help our children to be healthy and happy and our world to be at peace.
And thing I just remembered you talking about was that you worked with John Lennon, one of your guides, maybe, when you wrote the Sarah book. And that was interesting to me. I didn't know. I didn't know that you worked with other people. So I just wanted to hear a little bit more about John Lennon.
Well, I didn't know that he was guiding me, but I know he is because I heard his song Imagine, and then I had to put those lyrics in my book. And then I think probably after I published it, I'm like, oh, sometimes I can be a little slow. I'm like, oh, John Lennon's helping me with this book, because John Lennon was all about peace, and so that I realized, oh, John is one of my guides helping me along with Sarah, because I kept hearing Imagine, and that those song lyrics had to be in my book. So that's how I discovered it. I didn't get a direct transmission from him, but I also see and sense energy, so I can feel his essence now that I've acknowledged it, because he didn't come knocking on my door saying, oh, by the way, which that happens because, I hear things, but he didn't do that. It was more like I was like finally realized, oh, John Lennon is one of the overseers helping to bring this storyline forward. And I kept hearing, put that song, the lyrics into my book. So
that's a good transition into other famous people that have actually come to you. You want to talk about some of the famous people like Michael Jackson or Judy Garland, some of those stories? I know you have hundreds, but I'd love to hear some of that.
Yeah, back in 2019, I went to Arizona to work with this lady. She was going to write a book, and I was going to help her to channel the famous actors from the golden age of Hollywood, because she was to be an apprentice to Billy Travaglia, who was a costume designer, costume maker for all of the actors and actresses in Hollywood. He was very famous. Anyhow, she never apprenticed with him. So she thought she was going to maybe write this book. And so could I maybe channel some of the celebrities? So I did Marilyn Monroe, I did Danny Kaye, I did Paul Newman, Lauren Bacall, I ended up doing Michael Jackson. I did Sharon Tate, I did Frank Sinatra, Judy Garland. So some of them were the golden age of Hollywood, but I think I did about 33. So I have those recordings and I've transcribed them, and people says I should put this in a book, and I have not done it. So maybe I'll get around to doing it.
I would read that book. I was a dancer. I'd love to hear what Danny Kaye said. I don't know if you can remember on the spot.
I don't remember. I remember the one that stuck in my mind the most was Judy Garland, because her movie came out in 2019. I was in Arizona at the time, and I channeled the information. Then we went to go see her movie because it just came out. And my friends that were there with me, at one point during the movie, they looked over at me because what I had channeled was the same thing that was in the movie. And they were all like freaking out because like, oh my God, this is like the same information you just channeled. So I remember that moment, but I remember her being really angry, still angry. And it was not a lovely transmission that she brought through. She was really mad about Louis B. Mayer abusing her and causing her to start on her addiction journey and giving her pills and drugs to maintain her weight, and making her go to sleep, and whatever they did to her that caused her life to spiral into alcoholism and drug abuse. And she only died when she was 46. So she had a heck of a time, poor lady. So she was still really angry about that. Michael Jackson came and said that he was from another planet, that a planet was from a planet that was very peaceful and loving, and that people didn't understand him because he came from this other planet, because there was no violence or war or hatefulness. People were just loving. He said that he did not abuse children, never would, but that he was misunderstood. And because of his connection to children, that purity and innocence, his behavior was misportrayed. And the only thing I remember was that he said he was never coming back to reincarnated upon this planet again.
Who could blame him?
So, yeah. Then I did Sharon Tate, and what I remember about that was she wanted people to forgive Charlie Manson and all those that had killed her. And so that was a powerful message from Sharon Tate of forgiveness.
That would be a great book.
So those are the main ones that I remember.
You said Marilyn Monroe. Do you remember what?
Yeah, I don't remember. I'd have to go through all my notes because sometimes I can't remember what I did yesterday, let alone what I did 2019. So
That is a lot to ask.
Yeah, I don't remember. Those three stick out. Judy Garland was the one that stuck out the most because I really felt sorry for her. Poor thing. I was like, oh. Then I saw the movie and then I didn't know about her life really. I don't know what year she died, but I know she was 46. I really had empathy for her. Yeah, so talented, but then was used by Hollywood for.
You see all those movies, it's hard to be famous.
Then I'm just told and just recently that I'm going to write my fourth book about the story of my life and what we're talking about today. So this has been, it's all James's fault. So now I think I'm going to write another book.
I'll accept that.
So this is the beginning of that story. I'm like, oh gosh, it's a lot of work. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so much work.
Well,
But it's okay. It's still a little weird for me to be talking about myself. So I can identify that with Elizabeth. People know me that I teach and I lead, but I think I do it in a quiet, gentle way.
Well, you said people think you're meek. When I think of you as very powerful, but meek towards God. Like I think I read once, with the meek shall inherit the earth is not the way that humans think of meek. It's more surrendering fully to God is your meekness, which that's where your power is.
Yeah. Yeah, I never know really what I'm going to be doing. I just do it, which is an example of the retreat I did at your house. And she kept saying, well, what are we doing? I said, I have no idea. I mean, I sort of had an idea, but I don't know all the details. But
Let's talk about that.
Turned out fine.
Did you get any transmissions this morning? Because I feel like they usually reach out to you about 6 a.m. on the day you're going to do something.
Oh, well, around 3 o'clock in the morning, it's not my time, but I did hear Robert Redford again in my head, but I fell back to sleep and I couldn't get the message.
Oh, okay.
So, anyhow.
Can we talk about what Robert Redford said the first time he came? Let's talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, it was just a few days ago. I don't remember what it was. I woke up and I absolutely love Robert Redford. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, what girl does not love Robert Redford?
I love him.
So I heard his voice and I was like, Robert Redford, okay. And then I'm hearing him say, we need to contact Robert De Niro. I'm like, okay, but you're dead. All right. Okay, what's this? Oh, it sounds crazy. But I have a lot of crazy experiences. That's why my sister thinks I'm a weirdo. So then he said, no, I want to help you get your movie Divine Union made into a movie. And I want Robert De Niro to help produce. And he said, and I want it to be an independent film at Sundance. So I'm like, okay, did I hear this right? Did I hear this right? I'm like, okay, thank you. So this morning he came again at 3 o'clock, but I was like, that's not a good time for me to, like, I just can't be alert. So I'm sure he'll show back up again. So I'm like, okay, Robert Redford knows I want to make a movie. I'm like, no, this sounds really crazy. But I had a friend who worked with me the other day with a reading, and she's got goosebumps when I told her about it. So, like, she felt it was confirmation. And I do. I hear things. I trust it. It's just, I still have to laugh.
Well, yes.
I still have to laugh going, okay, am I hearing this right? Even though I've done this for so long, it's not that I not normally question things, but it's like, sometimes it's like, okay, okay.
Well, that's pretty grand to hear from Robert Redford that he wants to help produce a movie, and he just happens to also be on the other side.
Nominate somebody to.
Robert De Niro. I'm like, all righty then. Well, you'll have to make the arrangements because I'm like, I I got to go back to Podunk, and I don't know nobody in Podunk.
All
I'm
right.
going back home.
So Robert De Niro, is that what you said?
Yeah, I
All
do.
right.
So anyhow,
Hopefully he'll hear this somehow.
I have to laugh. That's that story.
So who else shows up in the middle of the night and you tell them to bugger off to
Oh yeah, well, Robin Williams, Pontius Pilate.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Robin Williams when he died. I remember it was 2014. I was in Chicago, and woke him up around 3 o'clock. I don't talk with spirit at 3 o'clock because I have my time, and if you want to come back when I wake up, you're good. But at 3 o'clock, no. So I remember what Robin Williams wanted. I'm thinking. I said, well, I have to come back because I'm going to fall asleep here again. And all I heard was, yes. He was mad and he left. He never came back again. Sorry. Go to the next one.
Okay, Pontius Pilate. You got to tell us about that.
Yeah, well, he showed up probably how many years ago? That was a long time ago. In the middle of the night. And I'm thinking, well, what is he coming to me for? Why is he coming to So I want you to help me because I've heard about you. And I need you to help me to clear because everybody hates me. 3 o'clock in the morning, you're going to have to come back. So he came back at a decent hour. And I don't remember what I did. But apparently I did a clearing for him, which I do. Whatever I do, clearing works. And so I haven't heard from him. But it was like, I wonder, who am I? He goes like, why would Pontius come to me? Who am I? Like, who am I? So I just have to laugh because it just makes me laugh in my humanness. Somehow they know about me up there.
Yeah.
But I guess if Jesus and Mother Mary found me, then they know who I am.
You have good references.
Yeah.
You have good references. She definitely does, even with Pontius Pilate.
So I'm like, I just have to laugh about these things because it just makes me chuckle.
Yeah.
People think I have an interesting life, and I think I have a boring life.
Oh, my goodness. You're so interesting. That's why we haven't even taken a break here. But Pontius Pilate could be very misunderstood, just as Mary Magdalene her history was written incorrectly. That's another book. You got so many books to write. Think how you could rewrite all kinds of people's truths.
So another area to cover is what have your adventures been? Where have you been instructed to go and what to do and things like that?
Well, I always wanted to travel, and I didn't think I was going to be able to, but I started in my 60s. My husband and I traveled. I shouldn't have to say that because we did a lot of work in the Bahamas and Hawaii with the Lemurian and Atlantean energies because those particular civilizations in their height were balanced civilization. We're replaying the fall again. So we have the potential for a civilization to crumble to what we call the dark forces or
to make the same mistakes again or to do it differently.
Yeah, to move into a higher plane. That's why the energy of the sacred feminine. So Don and I would go and do these work. We went to the Bahamas several times, Hawaii 2 or 3 times. We traveled the United States and did work in Shasta. Then in 2018, I met my friend Jared, and he lived in Kuwait at the time, and he loved to travel with his friend Cal. So I started traveling with them, going to sacred sites. So that year of 2018, I went to 8 countries. So we went to Ireland. Then for a month, we were in Kuwait, we went to Qatar, we were in Jordan, we were in Egypt, we went to Cyprus. Then I came back again at the end of the year and went to Turkey and to India.
Wow.
To an Ayurvedic treatment center. And then not one other country because there were 8.
You did all that in a month?
I did all that like from October to January.
Okay.
We went to Ireland, I think, in June. And then all those other trips were like in a month. And then I came home and then I left again and went back to Turkey. And we went to an Ayurvedic treatment center in Kerala, which was wonderful, in India. And then that was 2019. I came back. And so those sacred site journeys were working with the activation of the land. But in particular, we went to the Great Pyramid and I channeled Isis in the Great Pyramid. And that channeling is actually on my YouTube. That was really, really, really powerful. That was the pinnacle of that month trip. So we ended up in Egypt, was our last place that we went. And Isis brought in energy of the sacred feminine through the ley lines and the grid lines of the Great Pyramid, activating and awakening the energy of the sacred feminine through the pyramid and then out into the ley lines. So that was the pinnacle of that. Was really powerful. So when I went into the pyramid, I heard the reverberation of my voice off of the chambers in the pyramid, and the energy just reverberated back into my heart, and I just went into it. I don't normally trance. I'm a conscious channel, but I went into a trance, and I was like, whoa. It was one of the most powerful experiences I've had. And then the people that were with me, they just sort of stood there because I was in another altered state. And I channeled the energy of Isis that came through that day. I don't always fully understand what I'm doing, but I have to trust that whatever I've done was in service to the beings that are working through me, helping this planet, because it's all about the planetary ascension and humanity's ascension. But yeah, it was really powerful. I'll never forget it reverberating back into me. You can see it on my YouTube channel. It's available on my YouTube
I'm
channel.
looking forward to that one. Watch that one.
Yeah, just scroll down, you'll find it. I've got 400 videos on there, audios, and some videos. That was really important. And my work in Shasta has been important. I've been there 3 or 4 times. And I've worked with the energy of the Sacred Union, which is where I finished that book. There's an etheric divine union temple from the Lemurians there outside of Mount Shasta, or outside of Shasta City, Weed, California. A tour guide told us about it. And we did an activation there in 2016 before I finished the book, of activating and working with the divine union energy from that etheric temple.
And you said you had a ceremony where you married yourselves.
Yeah, we went
I want to
back.
hear about that.
I went back and took a group to Shasta because I lead groups to sacred sites. And we did that in 2023. There was like 7 women. And the purpose was to go to Shasta to be in the energy of the frequency of divine union. And so one of the pieces of the ceremony was Mother Mary helped us to come to marry ourselves, come into union with ourselves. So everybody married themselves through Mother Mary. So I channeled that little ceremony for everybody.
I know there's something in the Bible about the bridegroom and the bride. And I think that I've never really quite understood it from the Bible, but I want to go back and read it because I wonder if it's similar to what you're talking about,
It probably is.
where you marry yourself. Because
Yeah.
in the Bible, I think Jesus is talking about himself as the bridegroom and the bride.
So the alchemical marriage of the bride and the bridegroom is about coming into balance with divine mother, Father God within you, the divine feminine. So it's called the alchemical marriage.
Alchemical.
Yeah, alchemical. Am I saying it wrong? Alchemical?
Alchemical.
Okay, that's the marriage of the bride and the bridegroom. Yeah.
I love that.
Cool.
So yeah, all those journeys were unexpected. I was told that my sacred site journeys were not over, that I think, if I recall, I have 10 more sites to go to.
Wow.
Do you know what they are? Have
Nope.
they already told you?
Nope.
I love that.
Don't. I get my information as I need to know. Last minute.
You've done one to France?
Oh, I went on a pilgrimage there in 2017, but I didn't lead it.
Oh,
Yeah, after this book was published in 2017, a Chinese lady called me who had seen the book and wanted me to go on to this Mary pilgrimage with her and this group. I went, and that's where I connected in France at Sainte Marie de la Mure with Sarah. And so I want to go back there again because I didn't get to spend much time there, because that was the pivotal point for me of being there, receiving that information. I've been wanting to go back to France again really, really strongly. And for some reason, I keep hesitating. So I assume that I'll do it when it's supposed to be time. But I don't make any decisions without fully having clarity about it. It's how I live my life. Everything, even just small things. I tune within, I listen. Am I supposed to do that? No. Okay.
I wanted to ask you about, because we talked about the state of affairs today in our world and wars and governments and fear. I feel like a lot of people that I know have gone into fear about the world coming to an end or things from the Bible, are there one of your books that they could read that would be helpful to help them to stay in peace? Or is there something you would say to those people who are caught up in the division of them versus us? And
I would say to read my Sarah book because it's about peace. The bottom line, I feel, is people are afraid of what they don't understand. And so a lot of us are living in a state of fear. The collective thought form upon our planet is primarily fear. So we're being feeded with this fear for whatever reason. And I believe it's because I call it falling from grace. When Atlantis fell, there was a lot of fear created on our planet 10,000, 12,000 years ago. Probably was before, but I just have that information from Atlantis. And this caused separation from our true self, our God self, what I call that divine union, coming back into oneness. We got separated from knowing that we're a part of the energy of the God essence. So that fear has overtaken us in our humanness. And so we've been struggling with trying to raise our frequency from these lower base emotions to these higher conscious vibrational frequency. So when people don't understand that a part of what we're living in is, I don't want to call it an illusion, but it's an opportunity for us to transcend our base fear back into love and to live from the higher principles and the teachings of Christ and the other masters, and to be at peace and to live in a state where we're listening to our soul and we're being guided by our own higher wisdom, our higher self, our soul wisdom, and we can make the decisions about our life that we need to because we're tapping into our inner self, into our oneness, into our God essence. Again, people aren't trained to do that. There's many people who are teaching meditation or mindfulness. People are doing it, but I don't think the general population are afraid of that. I know that I saw on Facebook, it was somebody that I knew who was afraid of yoga and meditation, that these things are evil. It's like, oh, okay. Okie dokie. And so people have fear of what they don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
So when we can trust within ourselves and listen to our own voice, listen to our own soul, and discern what is right and true for us, we don't have to be so fearful. Then we're sovereign over ourselves. Then we're reconnected back to our oneness. And so there's a lot of people that are living in this state, and now it's even more. And these teachings can be of service to those who want to help themselves.
I've often felt that prayer is a form of talking to God, meditation is a form of listening to God.
Yeah, uh-huh.
So they go hand.
Because my stepmother, I remember, she was like, what is meditation? And so I try to explain to her about when she prays and gets quiet after Dad goes to bed at night. And she sits quietly by herself and does her little quiet time.
That she's meditating.
Yeah.
She just doesn't call it that.
Doesn't call it that. You know, it's all verbiage. But I don't know if I answered your question or not.
Another thing we could talk about are classes that you teach. I just was lucky enough to be in your 7 Sacred Flames class. And you mentioned that Sarah has her own flame.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Many of us will see color when we're meditating and our eyes are closed. I did for most of my life. I saw the violet flame, but I had no idea what it was. So there might be people listening who have that experience but don't know what it is. If you could tell us a little bit about the 7 Sacred Flames and your classes.
7 Sacred Flames was a book that I found when I went to Mount Shasta. It was written by Aurelia Louise Jones. She was connected to the Lemurians and to Adama, who was the high priest of Talos, the high priest of Talos. There were 7 flames that the masters each were what they call chohans of the flames. So we have Master El Moria, Master Lord Lanto, Master Saint Germain, Lord Sananda, Jeshua, Paul the Venetian. To explain, the masters are in charge of the flames. These flames are tools to help us in our ascension process. So the book, as I've taught it, is a study group in terms of helping us to understand who these masters are, but also how these flames, how we can invoke them. The sixth flame is the resurrection flame with Lord Sananda Jeshua. And I help people to use that flame a lot because it was the flame that resurrected him after the crucifixion. How it called in the resurrection. I am the resurrection and the life, but he called in the flame and the energy of the resurrection to resurrect his body back to perfect health and wholeness. So in each chapter, there are invocations how to work with the flame. And then the masters in the teachings share how they are working to help people, because this is a part of our ascension journey, helping us to move back into enlightenment, returning back to oneness. And so we are all born with a monadic flame or a ray that's our predominant ray. And then in every lifetime, we're mastering and working with one ray or another until we reach enlightenment. That's what this book is designed to do. So I've taught it probably 3 times now. Saint Germain is the violet flame of transmutation, and most people typically know about the violet flame of transmutation with Saint Germain. So by calling in that flame, that you can help change or transmute lower vibrational frequencies. So you can also shift and transmute energies for yourself and for energies around you that are discordant. So Paul the Venetian, his flame is a cosmic flame of love. That frequency is really beautiful and soft and loving. And as you call in that flame to open your heart so that we can now live in a heart center instead of fear. So part of the work is helping people to shift, again, your question about division and fear, from lower base emotions to higher consciousness and living from the heart with love.
Ascension is an interesting word. I want you to talk a little bit about ascension. Whenever I bring it up to my friends who are very based in church teachings, they seem to think that was just something Jesus did. So can you talk about the fact that the earth ascending and that that's a goal that we could reach in this lifetime individually, is to ascend?
I think of ascension as enlightenment, the journey to enlightenment. It's not really necessarily a destination, but it's a journey to enlightenment. So we're here on this planet to return back to oneness. We came to this planet with veils over us of our knowingness so that we could live in this human experience and have the human life, so to speak. But we're also, this was a free will planet. We are here to also to reawaken to our oneness. I'm not sure why that was all designed, but for whatever reason, this was designed as an experiment for us to forget our oneness, live in human form, and then be able to reawaken again to return to oneness, to enlightenment. And so that we're turning back to the essence, our full awareness of our God essence. So when I think of ascension, I just see it as a journey. Like my life, since I started channeling and before that, has been a part of that ascension process because I was awakened and I've gone through the journey, like we all have, of where we are today. So there's trials and tribulations and struggles, and there's lessons to be learned and karma to be cleared. But the goal is to become more into self-mastery, to have master over emotions, to have master over our thoughts. Just like Joshua, to have dominion over yourself. And so when we're more in that, again, balanced state, we go back to divine union. It all ties together. That's what I think of ascension. That might not be accurate, but that's how I see it.
No, I like that. And in the Bible, even Jesus says, everything that I do, so can you and more.
Yeah, right.
So inviting us.
Yeah.
I ascended, so you can do that as well, right?
It's always been a mystery to me about, as a young person, sort of having a sort of elusive goal of being better or to be free from suffering to always do the right thing or to be guided somehow in, like you say, every day you sort of ask, is this the right direction for me? So sometimes it's mysterious. It's something that is almost in my mind, everything I do in some sense. What is going to bring me more peace or more clarity, more in the present moment and functioning from the heart. And I think that's just attention, where you put your attention. Sometimes when they're young, they're maybe about relationship or money or travel, or a lot of times just what's bringing you back to center.
That's perfect.